Well, this is the friend from my bookshelf, Jonathan Edwards. Pretty cool looking chap. As you can see, not the triple jumper, but rather the old American minister who was around a century or so after the Mayflower crossing. One thing I've enjoyed hearing from Johnny about is his resolutions. I don't know if you've made any for 2021. Anybody going to eat less chocolate? Or do more exercise? Or be less grumpy? Well, this morning I'd love to share with you 4 of Jonathan Edwards' resolutions. And the first 2 are all about perspective. Now, I didn't manage to record this in time to send it over to Andy and get all the nice words on the screen. So you'll just have to listen double carefully today. Here's resolution number 1. Resolved that I will act so as I think I shall judge would have been best and most prudent when I come into the future world. Resolved that I will act so as I think I shall judge would have been best and most prudent when I come into the future world. From time to time I've been known to get worried or cross about things, and of course such feelings are entirely appropriate and right and everything, until I stop and think about those who are already in glory looking down from above on me. And then all of my concerns and frustrations look rather less significant, and 99% of them look like things that really I shouldn't be bothered by at all. Well, the same could be said of the things that we do or don't do. Would it be wise to spend X number of hours on this or that project? Well, let's consider it from the perspective of eternity. Looking back 1,000 years from now, are you going to be pleased you spent your afternoons doing all those Sudoku puzzles? Jonathan Edwards would suggest that that's a way of weighing up whether something is a good way to use time, whether certain feelings are appropriate, and so on. Let's spend 2021 as we'll be pleased to have done when we're looking back on our lives from above. The second of his resolutions is also to do with perspective, and it's a little bit shorter. It says this. Number 2, resolved, when I feel pain, to think of the pains of hell. Resolved, when I feel pain, to think of the pains of hell. Now, as mentioned, I've just had a week to forget. I would not wish you know what on anyone. I felt so rough at times, it's been really horrible. And yet, catching COVID is definitely not the worst thing that can happen to someone. It is infinitely better to catch COVID and even to die from it and to enter glory than it is to have a totally healthy, pain-free life, but find ourselves in a lost eternity. Every time Jonathan Edwards experienced some kind of pain or discomfort, he resolved to use it to remind himself that most people in the world around him are en route to misery in hell, where there will be no relief from the endless agony that they experience. He resolved to use every occasion of suffering, every physical pain, to remind himself that all those who don't love the Lord, all those who don't know him, they are en route to experiencing so much worse forever. Now, it's true that many of us do go through extremely horrible experiences. Some of us have been through terrible times of suffering, and I expect many of us have bad things that we will have to go through in the future. We could be tempted at times to say, I've been through hell, or I'm going through hell. But no matter how bad the experience is, we really aren't. Jonathan Edwards used the times of suffering in his life not to feel sorry about himself, but to feel sorry for others, and to be so thankful to the Lord for saving him from the dreadful consequences of his sins. He was resolved to use every time he had pain to think of the pain of those in hell. This is pretty deep, I know, and pretty impressive to be able to have such a view and a perspective on things. As I think about myself, I'm really not sure that I'm there at all. But I'm really glad for this example of others to be inspired and to be challenged by. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan Edwards, for these first couple of resolutions to inspire us as we go forward into the new year. We're going to hear a song now about someone else who was wise.